Welcome back again, everybody, to the channel. I want to thank you for coming in today. It's a partly over cloudy, sunny sky today, a little bit warm, a little bit cool, a little bit of rain. Anyway, I want to thank you for coming in. Today I want to talk about knowledge, okay, and how to obtain this knowledge. There are several ways of going about it. One thing you can do is you can always join a course in outdoor education or whatever you're studying. Today we're going to talk about outdoor education. We're going to talk about bushcraft and camping and outdoor skills. And you can do that, or you can learn from somebody else. And that's a really good way of doing it. Not necessarily doing a course, but if you got an uncle or a dad or a friend or somebody in your life, an aunt, whatever, a mom, anybody who you can hang around with when they go outdoors. I have a really good friend of mine, two good friends of mine actually, living in Hungary, and they've been friends together, I mean, probably 30 years, I would say. And one's a former, one is a survivalist, a survival instructor, bushcraft instructor. He teaches everything when it comes to the military, from skills. He was a former special operations in the Hungarian army back in the Cold War. And the other one's a younger guy. But you know what? They've been working together for many years, and they have a business together, and basically one's learned from the other when it comes to this. And it's been sort of like this great friendship between them for all these years, you know. And I want to give a big call out to Zoli and Adam. Two wonderful, great guys. I consider them brothers and love them like, you know, just love them to death. Great guys. And I spent time with both of them, doing a lot of stuff with them when I travel, especially when I travel over to Hungary. And Zoli is just and Adam has become so. I mean, he knows so much now from his time with Zoli, but Zoli is just it's just a dictionary, an encyclopedia of knowledge. You know, he's got so much knowledge because over there they had the capability and the knowledge. They didn't have the hardware, for example, and so they developed a lot of stuff themselves. And Zoli was he had come up with a 1 week or longer hiking trek where he would do, and he'd have people come on, and as they'd go to different stations, they'd hike and in this big loop, I think it was, and they would do different things along the way in the course of building up their survival skills. And he taught them, and then they would do, you know, it was very, very interesting, you know. And taking a course, or you know, scouting is a great way. Also, get involved in scouting. I've been involved in scouting, from youth, but also while my son Nicholas, when he went through scouting and got his Eagle Scout, I was there as a coach, as a mentor, guiding him along the way, as his father, and it was wonderful seeing him achieve that goal also. But I never earned my Eagle Scout. That's another story. But I enjoyed it, and I've been lucky enough to become an instructor in scouting, and not only teaching boys but teaching adults. And I've taken several courses across the zone of scouting for that too. And then the third area, you know, learning from others, or taking courses, or learning from somebody else, getting a mentor. The other side is actually basically finding the books and learning yourself. And I split those up into three categories of books. You have books that give you basic knowledge of survival and bushcraft. You have books that give you knowledge on plants and animals and food. And then you have books that give you knowledge on specific tasks, you know, that you can learn from everything from orientation and navigation to just outdoor living when it comes to, you know, how to do this and how to do that. Now, of course, they're more instructional. For example, how to make a knife, or how to make a bow, or how to make baskets, how to weave, this kind of stuff. These are all bushcraft skills, but there exists a line of books and a lot of knowledge there that you can get on a much better, more precise level, you know. And if those of you who you can go online and get these, I think they're online or for free. But if you want to increase your navigational skills, now with these, you not only just read the book, but you need to go out and practice, okay? And you need to practice navigation. You need to learn how to use that compass correctly and learn how to use a map correctly. Now, that's one thing. Another thing you can do in scouting is to get the field book. This is an old one. I have a bunch of the old versions, you know, from different periods of time. And the older ones are really good because they give you a lot more knowledge and things that you never imagined, even how to cook and how to set up, how to do lashings, this kind of stuff. Lashings are very important in knots, that kind of stuff like that. And then you have the basic Scout Handbook, and this is an old one I heard also. I don't know what year it is, but it's one of the older ones, I think from the 60s. And I find that the older ones have a lot more basic outdoor skills than the newer ones do. The newer ones tend to go with more of the newer technology and stuff like that, which are great to have. It's good to have the a facet of information. But if you want to learn some really good skills, it's right here. Another one, and I grew up with I found these when I was in school in the library at school when I was in little Georgetown High School in Louisiana, and that's the Foxfire book line, and these are fantastic. I mean, I got these on Amazon. I believe it's Amazon, and they're not free. This is about $17 a piece, but you know what? I've got 5 or 6 of them. I chose, there's a whole slew of them, and these are basically a college study that turned into it's from Elliot Wigginton and his students, and they would go up into the Ozarks and into the Blue Ridge Mountains, and they would see individual people. They would do everything from animal care, banjos and dulcimers, hide tanning, summer and fall wild plant foods, butter churns, ginseng, moonshining, faith healing, snake lore, planting by the signs, mountain crafts and foods, log cabin building. These are just 2 books that have this information in it, and these are basically, I have a bunch of them. I have like 5 or 6 of them, and there are more than that. I don't know exactly how many there are, but there are lots of them, and these are really good books right here. And all black and white photos, nothing super great, but you know, they have a lot of good stories in it, and you get to hear. Now, sadly, all the people that they're in this, the older people, luckily we got the information from, the knowledge from them. Sadly, they've all passed on. These books are quite old. This book right here, I don't know, 1966, 1972. These are from different articles. I mean, fantastic line of books. I highly suggest you get these. Some other stuff I've got the traditional Bowler's Bible, and I've got 3 of these, 3 editions. This right here, and these are basically, this is volume 1. I got 3 volumes, and it discusses how to make bows. Now, you can always, and I suggest that, take a bow making course, okay, and how to make a bow. That's one of the best things to do, you know, and learn what wood that you can find locally that you can make a bow with. And that's something I've always wanted to do. I have yet to do it. I've got the books. I've been reading through it. I've been reading through it for years. It's a high interest of mine, but I haven't taken that step and gone that far yet. And other books like, you know, Book of Camp Lore and Woodcraft, you know, this is by Daniel C. Beard, and this is Beard is actually one of the grandfathers of wood lore and bushcraft and woodcraft in the United States. I've got several books by him. Other books, let's see, Nesmuk is one also. He's another one when it comes to, and this is not a very thick book, but it's got a lot of knowledge in it, you know. And he's one of the grandfathers of woodcraft and camping in America. And then you got Camping Woodcraft, and this is by Kephart, and he's another. It's a bit thicker, but it's another one of our grandfathers of wood lore, or what we call in the UK or in Europe bushcrafting. There's some people take offense to that. You'd actually call it something besides wood lore from America. They want to differentiate. I've seen them on Facebook. I've dropped out of groups like that because it just sort of irritates me, you know, the whole concept of that. The other things are just knowledge information. Like, for example, I got this right here. This is Wild Food by Ray Mears. Now, of course, I've taken a Ray Mears course. He's got a great course, but they limit their course to knowledge. For example, I remember we were walking on a hike and we saw some mushrooms on the ground. We asked about it, and of course, the instructor, great instructor, by the way, at the time, named Lolly, he said, we can't talk about it, it's in the next course. So that was a little bit heart aching, you know. I was like, dang, you know, yeah, it's limited to that, you know. And then, of course, there's always like, for example, freshwater fishes. You know, these are, I've got these are here flashcards, like they open up, so you get a little bit more information on fish, and these are for birds, this kind of stuff too, and waterfowl. And this is European backyard birds, they call them. Everything from house martins to blue tits and to different kinds of ducks and waterfowl, and things like that. And then of course there's wildflowers. And a lot of these wildflowers you actually are edible, but you need to know also what's not edible, you know. And then we have trees. Now trees is actually a quite good one also, because I actually have a leaf in here from one that from a red oak. Because trees is really good when it comes to fire building or structure building or fire burning, because pine is like, okay, you can quickly build a structure out of it. It grows very quickly. It'll recover very quickly. So you find pine or spruce; those are great for structure building, and the leaves also you can easily for thatching, or you can boil it for tea, but it doesn't burn so well. It burns too quickly, so it's not a very good cooking wood. Where you have oak, or you have I'm trying to think of the English words for them. You know, birch, this kind of stuff. Much more dense wood that burns much slower, and also is really good for making tools with, you know. And but then also finding something that, you know, is good for if you want to build a fire, you know, you want to use friction. Which woods work best for that, you know. Another line of books, like I said, I mean, also knowledge books are and this is my first one from his course I got, was the Ray Mears Essential Bushcraft course. But it wasn't his first book he had written. He had written one where he was still Raymond Mears. And it's also quite a good book. This is what I like about these earlier books. It's less commercial. So you see what he's using in it. He's not trying to sell it. Where later on it becomes where you get the sense that you're being sold something, you know, because they wear specific brands and this kind of stuff. And then I've got some survival books, basic wilderness survival skills. Okay, and yeah, this has a lot of good information in it. You know. Across the board, it's got good information across the board, from knot tying to everything, you know. And then the old famous John Lofty Wiseman SAS survival books. I've got this one right here, which is the standard wilderness survival. And then I have also the urban one, which is actually quite interesting, because a lot of people don't really think about that, you know, urban survival. Anyway. Get out there. A lot of these books you can find used in used bookstores. Because, you know, people get into this and then they get out of it, you know, or the clutter, you know, and then of course you can find them online brand new. And I suggest, you know, build yourself a library, because the one person doesn't know everything. And what's good about it is you get a different direction from different places. Different continents give different information almost for some things, you know, different ideas. And it's important to have a full circle, a much more thorough idea when it comes to living outdoors in the wilderness, you know. Living in a tropical zone is completely different from living in Alaska and the desert on top of that too. So I always suggest, if you're going to go somewhere on a vacation for, let's say, a couple of weeks, you know, learn the culture. Try to pick up some of the language also before you leave. You know, you're going to look like a tourist, because we do. Those of us from the Northern Hemisphere, anytime we go down south, we look like tourists. You know, whether in visiting Central South America, or North and Southern Africa, or the Middle East, or Asia. You know, we are what we are. But what you can do is have a bit more knowledge. And one of those things is, besides culture and language, is also you know, the street knowledge and outdoor knowledge. So just in case you're on that wild safari in Africa, you at least have an idea of something that can help you to survive 24 hours or however long, maybe even an hour, because, you know, it doesn't take very long to get eaten by a lion if you're on a wild safari. So you need something that's going to help you to knowledge that, okay, I need to get up in the tallest tree possible, and I happen to have a signal panel on me, and I have a cell phone which has no cell coverage, but I do have a radio or whatever, and I can wait it out. Or you wait it out inside the vehicle, which is going to get hot, but at least you'll be a little safer, you know. But And that's another thing too. I mean, when it comes to survival, people, they go camping in their camping cars and they get stuck or they have a breakdown or something and they're in the middle of nowhere. And the first thing they do is they leave their vehicle, and that's the worst thing you can do. That vehicle is a huge thing to see from the sky. So if you're being searched for, you'll be able to see it. This is the kind of knowledge you pick up in these books. And like I said, if you're going to Australia, going wherever, you know, you have places in, you know, here in Europe you won't find it so much unless you're in Northern Europe or more to the east. But here you're never further than a couple of kilometers from civilization or something. Here in Switzerland it's even worse. You know, it's quite compact. It's a small country, smaller than Louisiana, and it has a bigger population, twice the population as Louisiana, you know. And all Louisiana populations are in the cities, but primarily, I mean, New Orleans, Shreveport, and Alexandria has about 80,000 people. Not that huge, but it adds up. Around 4.5, 5 million people. We're here in Switzerland, we're at 8 or 9 million people already, and it's a smaller country. But anyway, be prepared, which is what the Boy Scouts always say, and get that knowledge. So it's important to, you know, get some, you know, get tourist handbooks, you know, study maps, this kind of stuff. Always get maps of the area you're going to travel to. Also, it's funny how this is all led off into something else, but all this is knowledge, and it's all going to come back and help you. Don't just count on digital knowledge, you know, what you can download off the internet, because, you know, unless you have, you know, the batteries can run out, it can break, it can get wet, you can get lost, or you have absolutely no internet connection. So have that paper knowledge there with you. It may, you know, even if you have to just print something out with information on it, with some pictures on it, you know, do that. You know, there's some really good, something else, if you go to some countries and you can find just funny, a bird just flew by the window. I looked up as if it was in the room. It was that close to my window. If you are, you know, if you get a map or something like that, there's some countries that have maps. Australia has them too, which has a lot of survival information on the back of them for the area of that map. Which is quite interesting. Put down specific telephone numbers. Have all this stuff written down, because in your telephone it may break. So get it all written down, you know, and always carry some extra money. You know, there's a lot of things you can learn, you can do that can help prepare you for that, you know. So anyway, listen, I want to thank you for coming to my channel again. I hope you all had a great weekend. And today's Tuesday, so I mean, there you go. You're in your second day of work probably. But I want to thank all of you for coming again, and please give a like, a thumbs up, and if you have and make comments. If you have any questions, please leave them. And I appreciate so far all the support I've gotten. I was really happy to see all the views from my video I made. Well, what the video, the pictures from my hiking trip, which was really nice. A lot of people have joined the channel. I'm close to 50 people now. That's incredible. I never imagined 50 people want to even be interested in what I have to say. But it's inspired me to want to do more and to bring more knowledge, information to you. But anyway, I'm not the guy who knows it all, but what I do know, I'll try to give it out to you as much as I can. Anyway, I want to thank you again, and I hope you all have a good day. And I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.